Hello, welcome to Moist Nougat. I am the kid. Welcome to episode 132, the episode that almost never happened. I'll get into that shortly. But I wanted to start off by talking about the Super Bowl. All in all, I thought it was a pretty good game. The results weren't exactly what I wanted. But I mean, it was a close game, went into overtime. I mean, what more can you ask? And I'm the same as apparently some of the 49ers players. I had no idea that they changed the overtime rule for the playoffs, where both offenses would get a crack at it. I don't know why we haven't been doing that forever, but some people think it's stupid. I don't understand the mentality behind, like, oh, let's just do sudden death. I mean, it's okay, but I've seen so many games where you have two offenses that are moving the ball up and down the field the whole game, and then it goes into overtime, and basically it's a coin toss, decides who wins the fucking game. That's idiotic to me. I thought that the referees did overall a pretty good job. I don't think there was any calls that, I mean, there was a few calls that after the game that I saw that people pointed out, some offsides, and there was a few first downs that I thought maybe they didn't get, but I don't think it really impacted the game overall. I don't think it decided the game, and that's really the important thing to me when it comes to the officials. If they blow a call and it costs a team the game, that's an issue. But they're going to miss a call here and there because they're looking at everything full speed while they're fucking running down the field. And so, if y'all want to make TikToks the next day and complain about every single fucking thing, then, throw your name in the ring for a job as an NFL referee or an NBA referee or a Major League Baseball umpire or whatever. Like I said, a blown call, just a blatantly bad call, that's an issue. But they're going to miss a holding. They're going to miss, they're going to, mark the ball a yard long or a yard short once in a while. They miss the spot. They shouldn't, but it's a fine line between how much technology do we want in the game and how much human element do we want in the game. But like I said, the game went into overtime, and the next day, the 49ers players were coming out saying that they didn't even know the overtime rules. And immediately everybody's throwing Kyle Shanahan under the bus, saying that, hey, he didn't. And the Chiefs were saying, oh, we've been coaching and practicing and deciding what we would do, in overtime. And I don't know. I'm not in the 49ers locker room during the season, so I don't know if it's so much Kyle Shanahan or were the kids sleeping during class. That's a strong possibility that they weren't paying attention. But even then, so the 49ers took the ball, right? Who gives a shit? Like, they both offenses get a crack. It's not like it was an outdoor windy game and it was, which side which way you wanted to go on the field was more important than who got the ball first. I don't think that the 49ers taking the ball first really impacted the game. They went down, thought they were actually going to maybe score a touchdown, and they ended up having to go take a field goal. And, of course, the Chiefs came back and scored a touchdown. Game over. That play that they scored the touchdown on, there was a lineman supposedly too far downfield that somebody pointed out on TikTok. Maybe not. I don't know. It might have been so close that had they, there's going to be controversy either way, regardless. Like I said, I was pulling for the 49ers. Talked about it last week, why. And it didn't turn out. I honestly didn't think that the Chiefs were going to even make the Super Bowl this year based on the way their season was going. They just didn't look as stout as they have in previous years. But everything started clicking at the right time for them, and they got another Super Bowl. So it is what it is. We move on. There was one point in the game where Travis Kelce kind of got pissed off and ran into Andy Reid and then started screaming basically in his face. And, these guys are passionate. This is the biggest game of the season. Emotions are running super high. So shit's going to happen. It was a little over top for me too. The way he bumped into Andy Reid. Andy Reid didn't expect it and almost went on his ass. 30 years ago, you did that to a coach and you probably would have gotten your ass kicked. But it's a different game now. Different personalities in the game. But people are making more out of it than what it is. Andy Reid isn't upset about it, and Andy Reid's a smart guy. If he was upset about it, he probably's, privately had a conversation with Travis and told him, hey, don't pull that shit again. Even Travis Kelce's brother called him out and said there was better ways that could have been handled, and it was a little over the top, and a lot of players came out and said it was over the top. Travis apologized for it, said that, his emotions got the best of him, and, it is what it is. I mean, emotions are running high in a situation like that, and but people are making even more out of it than that. They're like, oh, Taylor Swift better watch out, because that's a clear indication of wife beater, basically. And I'm like, I don't know where you're really getting that out of what happened. I don't know. People want to make mountains out of molehills, and they don't like somebody, so they're going to throw as much mud at them as they can. I don't know that much about Travis Kelce. I know that when he was in college, he was a little bit too much of a party boy, and basically his brother talked to him and reeled him in and said, hey, man, you're going to throw this shit away if you don't get shit together. And but I haven't never heard any accusations or allegations of him, beating on women or anything like that. So I don't put those, two things together and assume that because he was passionate and he bumped into Andy Reid and yelled and that, he's an angry man and is going to beat on women. Who knows? I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe, down the line, something could happen. But based on that one thing, I'm not going to make that assumption about him. Commercials. There was, a few funny ones, but the commercial thing for the Super Bowl is just not what it was, 15, 20 years ago. It was a huge deal back then. But I do think that the Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Matt Damon and Jennifer Lopez and her husband, and then Tom Brady's in it, which made it even funnier that Tom Brady was in the commercial. That was the hands down to me the funniest commercial of the Super Bowl. And I watched the halftime show, and I was as entertained or not entertained as I am every fucking year for the Super Bowl halftime show. Just it is what it is. It's there, and it's not going away, and I don't give a shit. And it was fine. I don't know. To me, it was all about the game, and it was a good game. And like I said, the results weren't what I wanted, but it was a good game, and that's all I wanted, was a good game. I'm actually recording on Sunday this week. I'm way behind schedule, and I'll tell you why. They've been working on the power lines in the neighborhood, updating the ancient power lines. The old ones were actually smoke signals that were going down the line. It wasn't even an actual power line. It was just somehow the smoke signal worked its way. And but no, they've been out here. This is probably the third straight weekend they've been out here working all weekend. And so the power's been, they've had to turn the power off and turn it back on and turn it off and turn it back on several times. So I gave up on resetting the clocks. I just actually, before I started doing this, I went ahead. We have 3 clocks in the kitchen that I need to reset. The microwave, the stove, and the coffee pot. Because I hate a flashing digital clock. But because the power was going out so often, I just said, I'm just going to wait until they're done because I'm just getting tired of setting the clocks. Now, my wife actually set the clock on the stove just to have 1 clock because she knew how much it drove me nuts. But now they're all set, and so hopefully the power stays on. And I don't know what that was. I guess that was the wine aerating up through my esophagus. But the group of guys that have been out here working on the power lines, good group of guys. I've talked to several of them, on and off. I know they're working, so they don't have a whole lot of time to shoot the shit. But there's been times where they're just, spotting the guy up on the cherry picker or whatever, and or boom or whatever you want to call it. Some pretty cool guys, and they're busting their asses. They didn't leave here till after 7:00 tonight, and they got here a little bit later this morning than they did yesterday. They got here about between 8 and 8:30, I guess, when they kind of showed up and started to get moving. They basically ran out of daylight, but tomorrow I guess they just have to come in and just pick up some of their tools and extra shit that they left behind. They're actually done with our little neck of the woods here, so it's like I said, good group of guys. Feel bad for them. The guys are out here busting their asses, and they're not eating, and they work 7 days a week for weeks at a time, and then they get 6-7 days off. But one of the guys is from Vermont. He gets 6 days off. He from here to drive all the way back to Vermont is a day and a half, and then a day and a half. So you got almost 3 days just travel. So that gives him 3 days at home, and it's like, is it even worth it? And that's what I was saying. I was like, he just turned 21 last weekend. And I'm like, you're in a different time. You just go raise hell. That's what I would have done. I wouldn't have went home for just 3 days. I'd just go out and raise hell for, 6 days and hopefully not get arrested. But it's going to be kind of weird not having all the shit going on outside. Not a whole lot of excitement. Talked about it a few weeks ago. Monotony. And along with that monotony, it's almost like solitary confinement. Not really comparing my situation to actual solitary confinement, but I don't converse with a whole lot of people on a day-to-day basis. Now, I might, go to the grocery store and have a chat for a minute with another customer or the cashier when I'm cashing out or something like that. And like the powerline guys, like I enjoy socializing with people, and it actually lifts my mood to have a conversation. But sometimes I feel like maybe these guys, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, oh my God, am I that fucking weird, annoying guy that won't shut up, and we don't want to talk to him, but he just keeps, showing up at the cash register every couple of days, or we're out here working and he comes out, but I wasn't walking up and bothering him or anything like that. If they were just happen to be right next to me, and they might say something to me and we'll have a short conversation. But I feel like that's how desperate sometimes I feel, that to have a conversation with somebody, nothing against my wife, but somebody other than my wife. I know it's kind of depressing, isn't it? But hopefully I'm not that guy, that annoying guy, because I remember days when I was in a different situation, and then there was that person that it's like, oh shit, here he comes. Damn it, here he comes. Well, this is gonna kill an hour. So hopefully I'm not that guy. And then sometimes like I said, when I go to the grocery store or something like that, and I've had a conversation with the cashier or something, and I'll put the groceries in the car, and I'm like, shit, did I bend that person's ear too long, or was that just a normal conversation? I don't know. I don't know. I don't run in huge social circles anymore. I think the older you get, for the most part, the harder it is to make friends, because I think you're set in your ways. You know what you're into, you know what you enjoy, you know what you don't enjoy, and so you don't have time for people that don't have this same interest as you. It's like, okay, whatever. You're into completely different stuff, so let's just not waste each other's time. We can be cordial, and if we're at a gathering, we can talk about and maybe find something that we're both interested in. But I find more times than not, I'm actually pretending that I'm interested in what somebody else is interested in, not so much the other way. I'll talk about, somebody's boat, or somebody hunting, or, whatever, or cars, or, and I'm not a car guy, and I don't have a boat, and I don't hunt. But I'll sit there and talk to somebody for an hour and a half about it, because I'm a nice guy. But if I started talking about, doing podcasts or editing video or playing the drums, I mean, yeah, if you're talking to another drummer or something, but, people will kind of quickly leave the conversation. Somehow they'll find a way to exit. And I've always wanted to be better at that. Yeah, good talking. See ya. or when you're leaving. It's, like, I know it's kind of a joke with, people, like, then you get in your car and they're standing by the window talking to you for another hour, and it's like, holy fuck, I've been leaving for 3 hours, and then I know people, or I've been around people that when they're done, they're done. They're like, gotta go, bye. And basically they just, turn and fucking go. And there isn't any reeling them back in because they're done. They're leaving. And I don't want to be rude, but that's the way I feel. It's like, that's the way I want to be. Like, when I'm done with a conversation, I'm going to find a way to remove myself from conversation and move along and not get stuck there for 2.5 fucking hours. This is completely off the cuff. I'll be honest with you, yesterday, because they were out here working on the lines yesterday, and I got up early, everything was good, my hips weren't hurting. I was I'm like, holy shit, I actually slept. I got, I didn't sleep all the way through the night, but I had a 1 o'clock or 1:30 wake up for a half an hour, but I got back to sleep and woke up feeling good, woke up early and made coffee and played solitaire on my computer and got a early shower in, went and got gas in my car and picked up some smokes. I know I still haven't quit smoking, and came home, and my wife slept in a little bit yesterday, so I didn't, I was going to try to hit the grocery store, so it was one trip, but I ended up going out again to the grocery store and picking up groceries and coming back, but they were still out here doing the power thing, and I was like, you know what, I'm the whole thing is just starting to, there you go, trying to figure out, the glasses is fucking the goddamn thing up, so my camera, it like loses focus sometimes if I put my glasses back on. But anyways, I was like, you know what, I'm tapped out, I'm done. I'm going to take the week off, and I'll do my final episodes of all of it, of the Does It Suck, the vlogging, the podcast, the whole 9 yards. And then just be done with it and not have to worry about doing any of this shit. It's not what I want to do, but my mood went from waking up feeling good to like it peaked and then just went on a steady decline the whole rest of the day. And I think that's because, like, I got to move my car, and then I got to move my car again. And then, there's they got the driveway blocked off, and I can't just pull out of my driveway. I got to wait for somebody to come and move the signs and the cones and this and that. And I know that's protocol for those guys. It's not a road that we're living on right here. It's a driveway. So I'm not really sure why they had to block it off, but if that's what they have to do, that's what they have to do. But yeah, anyways, my mood just kind of took a turn, and I just wanted to find something on fucking TV to watch and, tune out. So, and then, of course, I'm like, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. That's not really what I want to do. So I will regroup tomorrow, and, I'll get it all done tomorrow. And then, the power guys are back, and the power was on and the power was off. Then, we're not going to have to turn the power on or off at your house, it'll be the rest of the houses up there. And I'm like, cool. So I, fired the computer back up, and I was getting ready to, and this is like at like 1:00, and all of a sudden they're knocking at the door. We're gonna have to turn the power off. So I turned everything off, and then I was like, just whatever. So it's like midnight now. No, it's not actually midnight. It's only going on 8:30. So, but yeah, I almost quit yesterday. Let's just put it that way. I almost just said, fuck it, I'm done. But I didn't. And some people are probably like, wow, you should have, man. You really should have. You should have just quit. But I didn't. So you're stuck with me for at least another week anyways. So this morning I got up. I didn't quite feel as chipper as I did yesterday. And I didn't sleep as well. And I woke up, my back was hurting. It's just, getting old. It is what it is. But got going, got motivated, made coffee. I almost got up at like 4:00 this morning. And I was like, I don't want to get up this fucking early because I knew that I'd be on the downside of staying awake at 7:00. And so I forced myself to just stay in bed. And I ended up falling asleep for another couple hours, which was good. So, but I still got up pretty early and made coffee, played solitaire, got my shit going, and I had to chauffeur my wife and her sister at like 10:30, 11:00. So I got my shower in and all that, and I was ready to go. And of course the guys were out here working and all that, so I was out here checking that shit out. And I was taking my wife and her sister to a bar at 11:00 this morning. Yeah, my wife's not even a drinker. She's just totally given up. She's like, you take me there, and my mom's gonna pick me up. And no, actually, it was a drag show brunch at this brewery here in town, and it was the Golden Girls, the Golden Girls drag show, which actually would have been kind of funny. I probably should have went and hung out. I've never been to a drag show, so no idea if it's my crowd or not. I almost talked my wife into being on the podcast tonight. Since I had nothing, I was just jotting shit down. What am I going to talk about? What am I going to do? I don't know. When's the power going to go out again? And I half jokingly asked if she wanted to do the podcast. And I knew she didn't really want to. And so I gave her out and asked her again just to make sure that she actually didn't want to do it. And so I don't know a whole lot about what went on because I was on the phone with Dana Lee when she got home. And so I haven't really talked to her about the show so much. She did send me a picture of her and her sister posing with the Golden Girls, Golden Gals, Golden Guys, whatever, the performers. And she said she had a lot of fun. So I'm glad that she had a lot of fun because she doesn't do a whole lot either. I mean, the two of us are, for all intents and purposes, we might as well be 98 years old. But what's funny is after I got my shower and I was milling around outside with my new sneaks and shoelaces, I'll get into that another time. But my wife was taking a shower and getting ready to go, and ended up talking to one of the guys, and younger guy, the guy that just turned 21, and then we were talking about moving my car and stuff like that. I feel like I already told this story. Did I already tell this fucking story? I don't know. I'm getting fucking old. Can't even remember what I talked about 10 minutes ago. I don't think I did. But anyways, talking about moving my car out of the way. And I said, yeah, I'm getting ready to leave anyways here in a little bit. So it's not a big deal. I said I'm taking my wife and her sister to a drag show downtown. And I said, it's the Golden Girls drag show. And he's like, who are the Golden Girls? And I had to explain that it was a TV show about four older women. And he's like, oh, it must have been before. I said, it was definitely before your time, dude. Way before your time. But, I mean, the guy's working 12 hours a day, 9 days a week. So, but I feel like everybody knows the Golden Girls. I mean, how do you not know the Golden Girls? I mean, not everybody likes TV. Not everybody turns the TV on. But yeah, that made me feel old. It really did. But just talking to people, like I said, I don't know if I said that. My mood gets better when I'm just talking to people, and I didn't scratch that off, so I said it again. I bought a journal like a week ago. Another journal. This is like the 175th time I bought a journal. I probably got $1 million invested in journals that I started and then quit. Every time you see a TV show or a movie, and or maybe you've been, I mean, I think I've seen a counselor once or twice in my life, and one of the first things they want you to do is like start journaling. It's supposed to be so therapeutic and so good, but I've just never been good at it. I've bought journals, and part of it is because I'm too fucking anal. I'll have one bad day where I write something I don't like, and I'm always worried about somebody reading it or losing it, and somebody reading it or something like that, or I don't, or it's the same thing every day, or I've just never been good at journaling, but I always wanted it. I'm really into pen to paper. I like writing. I'm old school that way. I that's why I take show notes and I handwrite them, and I've typed them before into like Word or something like that, but it's easier to save that way. It takes up less space. Less space in your house, I guess, but not on your computer necessarily. But I'm just old school like that. I like when you see somebody that's got like in a movie or something, they got a journal and it's all, just beat the shit, but I never have one long enough to beat it to shit like that, because I don't want to carry it everywhere I go, because like I said, I'm afraid I'm going to lose it or something like that. And I'm too anal because everything's got to be like, there's a system, and it's got to be like, oh, I got to, or if I miss a day or something like that, I get upset. No, I got to do it every day. And like, I put this stupid pressure on myself to like, whatever, just write when you feel like fucking writing. It's so stupid to like, oh, I wrote on Monday, so I have to write on Tuesday. I have to write on Wednesday. No, like if you don't have anything to write, then don't fucking write it. But anyways, I say how therapeutic it is, and most all these successful people, they journaled and Not that journaling is going to make me successful by any means, but I understand the therapeutic part of it, just like getting shit off your chest. But that's kind of what I'm doing now. But I don't get too personal on the podcast. I try not to anyways. I feel like now that I'm doing it by myself, I'm getting more personal than I ever did before. It is 9 o'clock. The nifty clock I have over there just changed. But yeah, so this journal, like I went in, I was actually looking for like, I don't know, I just was bored and I was out. And so I was like, I'm going to run into Office Depot or whatever and just see if they have one of those like, everlasting pencils. Cause that's what I really was looking for to throw in my camera bag. Cause I'm worried about like the pen exploding and getting ink on everything in my camera bag or whatever. And I'm like, well, a pencil won't do that. But they didn't have one. And so I was looking at just pens, and I'm like, I don't need any pens. And so I went and looked at the journals, and I was like, it's nothing special. And, I was like looking for something like, $10 or less. And they've got like their own brand. I forget what it's called. But they had like a little end cap. End cap is, the aisles and if you don't know retail, end cap is at the end of the aisles. They call that an end cap. And they had these, and they were like $8. And all their other notebooks were like, $30 and $40. I'm like, I don't know what's so special about these fucking notebooks. And it's funny because actually a lady came up and she was carrying one of their higher end notebooks. And she had happened to stop, and I was like, said something about, I don't know why they're so expensive. I said, this is actually a good price on these, though. I guess it was some sort of clearance or something. They didn't have any cool colors. They had like a light blue, which was a little feminine for me. And then they had like a pink one, which, I was definitely not going to, I don't hate pink, but I don't see me, having a pink journal. And then they had like a silver one, like a Mork and Mindy silver one. And she actually put her notebook away and grabbed one of those because it was probably like $30 cheaper. And I was like, yeah, see, I talked you into buying one. And, she laughed. And but yeah, I grabbed one of the silver ones and bought it. I'm like, I'm fucking here. I got to buy something, I guess. I don't have to. I am my mother's son, though. I like to buy things. But yeah, I haven't written a fucking word in it yet. It's on my bookshelf and it's ready to go, and just got to find the right time. I've got all kinds of shit to say in it. I just find it very hard to dedicate. They say you should journal in the evenings because you've already gone through your day. So you can kind of, notate your day if anything specific happened or anything like that. But you got to have the right space and the right, atmosphere and all that to let it all come out, I guess. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just into like pens and notebooks and writing and I just don't have a whole lot to write about. What'd you do today? Same thing I did yesterday. What'd you do the day before that? Same thing I did today. You know what I mean? But anyways, I'm going a little bit crazy with nonsense at this point. So I'm going to call this one an episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching if you do. I am the Kid, and we'll catch you next time.